gonna make a move, or we just gonna sit here, right? And so when I see politicians that, you've been sitting in office all these years, you've been getting elected, black representatives, all this, but I got to go to South Side of Chicago and find dead babies in the street, and y'all act like that didn't happen. Or I got to go out and look at us making the same mistakes that people were making 40 years ago. Or I got to go out here and constantly see my people on their knees bowing and scraping and begging white people to save us. That gets on my nerves. I don't like that. I think that we're better than that. I just can't help. So that comes out of me, and some people can tolerate it, and some people think I'm being mean or I'm being an uppity Negro or maybe it's impatience. My father told me that. He said you got to work on your patience. You're not a, and I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. I remember when I was at University of Kentucky, true story, we led one of the most radical pro-black protests ever in the history of that school. It was in the 1990s. It was a wild time. And I guess I was the de facto leader of the protest. I don't talk about my University of Kentucky days that much, but this was back in the 90s. So I want you to picture the 1990s. Like TLC was still popping, and Mary J. Blige was young. Nobody knew Diddy was going to be having parties 25 years later, and we or those crazy parties back then. Diddy parties were a good thing. And so anyway, at this time, it was actually mid to late 90s. So maybe even kind of pre Diddy. Diddy was just becoming something. And so basically what happened was there was a black girl who got attacked where they put a knife to her throat because she wrote in. I used to write these articles in the campus paper, and everybody hated me. All the white people hated me. So most of the black people loved me, right? It was like that, right? It was an interesting experience, and I didn't really think I was doing nothing other than just telling my truth. I was like, this conservative crap is stupid, and I was probably a little more on that liberal tip in terms of thinking that race was a delineator for politics. Like if you're a Democrat, you're pro-black. If you're a Republican, you have to be a sellout. I don't think that way anymore. I know I have a lot of Republican friends who are great people. I have a lot of Democratic friends who are great people, and I have people on both sides that I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. So my point is to say that like so at that time I would write these articles and I would just tell my truth and it just for whatever reason made sense. And I'm a mathematician at heart, so to me it would always be well 2 plus 2, if you take two and you put the other two next to the first two, you're going to have four. And then if you add another two to the four, you're going to get six. It would be like that, right? And then people would be like, oh my God, that's so profound. And I'd be like, what's profound about it? It's 2 plus 2 is four. That's been true for a long time. And so what got me started writing in the campus paper actually, see, this is the funny thing. Sometimes that little subtle racism can bring the best out of you if you attack it in the right way. So I read this article. It was during the Republican Revolution and Newt Gingrich and all that. Some of y'all might remember that. And I read this article and it was just the most racist stuff I'd ever seen. This guy was basically, it was kind of like early Charlie Kirkish kind of talk, like black people are this and black people that. And I read this, I'm in the bathroom, I'm like, what the hell is this crap? So I walked and I ran into the university president. His name was Charles Wethington III, and he probably regrets this to this day. But I saw him and I said, "How can somebody write this? This is racist." And you know what he said? He said, "Well, if you disagree, you should write your own editorial." And I said, I'm gonna do that. So I walked over to the journalism school because I didn't know where to go.